Michael Brantley may not be a household name just yet, but the Indians outfielder put together a 2014 campaign which could very well earn him the American League MVP award. Matt Waymeyer joined on the phone by Jordan Bastian, Indians beat reporter for MLB.com. Jordan, thanks for joining us. And is it fair to say, Jordan, that Michael Brantley was baseball's best kept secret in 2014?
I think so. I think his offensive performance was about as quiet as he is, in the clubhouse as one of the team's leaders. This is a guy that if you looked at almost every offensive category, he was right at or near the top. Finished third in the league in batting average. Beyond that, finished with 20 homers, 20 steals, 40 doubles, 200 hits. First player in Indians history, which goes a long way back, to accomplish those plateaus in a single season. That's a pretty rare combination of speed and power and consistency in baseball history as well. So, if you look at Mike Trout, who's also in this category, Michael Brantley was right there step in step with him along the way. But because he hasn't done this in previous years, he kind of went unnoticed by a lot of people. But, for an Indians team that was fighting for a playoff spot and came just short, he was a very, very valuable and the most valuable part of that Indians offense.
Jordan, you mentioned Mike Trout of the Angels. He, along with Victor Martinez of the Tigers, the two other nominees in this category. Make your case for Brantley over those other two.
Well, it was the balance. It was the balance of offensive contributions across the board. It wasn't one area. This isn't a guy that is known as a power hitter, and yet he hit 20 homers, which nowadays is about a 30-homer season. The way power is dropping throughout the league. But then extra base hits. Showed the speed by stealing more than 20 bases. And his defense combined, he was up for a Gold Glove Award for his work in the outfield this year. Had one of the higher number of assists in baseball for a left fielder. I don't think he had any errors as a left fielder this year. He also played some center. And this was an offense in Cleveland that played a lot of the year without Michael Bourne, without Nick Swisher, dealt with a down year from Jason Kipnis. And Michael Brantley, who wasn't known as this type of hitter, really stepped up and became the focal point of that offense and carried the team nearly to the postseason.
Brantley's potential was certainly never in question, but did his breakout 2014 season surprise even his biggest supporters?
I think they weren't surprised in the sense that he could develop into an offensive leader. I think maybe the extent that he did was what dropped a few jaws in Cleveland. They obviously signed him to a contract extension prior to this past season, so they had that faith that his steady bat and steady defense would be a key part of the Cleveland core for years to come. But I don't think they really envisioned this guy becoming the type of power hitter that he did this past year and run producer. I think that was the pleasant surprise, and now it's going to be interesting to see maybe what you could project from him going forward, because at the age he's at right now, you could imagine that he could get even better.